So we came back from Barnes and Noble, and I'm heading to the library now. It was kind of a letdown. Barnes and Noble, I mean, it was kind of a letdown. Really, the only thing that I got was a little inexpensive butterfly-shaped tray for my room, so that I can have something to put my earrings and jewelry in instead of having to pack them away constantly. But I don't know, the trip just wasn't what I was looking for, so I'm going to go to the library now. Have to pick up a couple of things, take a couple of things back, and I'll show you the tray later when I get home. Good morning. It is almost exactly a week later, Saturday again. I have been making quite a bit of progress on writing, so the rest of this vlog, I'm pretty sure the rest of this vlog will be updating you on things happening with the new novel, Cassandra's story, as well as the vlog. Sorry, I'm tired. So this is the butterfly tray that I mentioned earlier that I picked up at Barnes and Noble for $8, I think it was $7-8, was originally $15. Ceramic, so I'm going to be using that when I reorganize my jewelry in my room. So let's start with Cassandra's story. I have written, I'm about to lose half the book. Okay, I have been taking a lot of the notes that I have written down in the notebook that you've seen before. I've been organizing those into an outline for Cassandra's story, and it is going to be a novel. I've been organizing those. Some of them are for the novella, but a lot of them are going to be for the novel. So I've been creating an outline for that. I have several, could you say key scenes? Yeah, key scenes. Some for the beginning, some closer to the middle. One of the scenes that I wrote just a few days ago has some jokes about food because the two characters in that scene are living in a place that is very into pleasuring the five senses, and one of them is obsessed with food. The other one, not so much. There's a lot of irony in that scene too. I can't really tell you about it. I want to, because I'm pretty sure that that's going to be how the book actually starts, and it's a very unexpected beginning. And then I have made, I'm not sure if I mentioned this in a previous clip or not, because I've had so many things going on in my head. I've been in the process of making, at the moment, 2 playlists, one on YouTube. Both of them are private right now, but I'm thinking at some point I may make them public closer to when the book is actually done, and I can talk about it a little bit more. One is for the debut novel, and that's just like a basic world building playlist of sounds, primarily ambiance videos, because I listen to a lot of ambiance, that I plan on using when I start to write descriptions, more detailed descriptions for some of the different locations. For the novella, a lot has been happening with the novella. I know the point of view that it's going to be from, the person who's actually going to be moving the story along. I have a pretty good idea of the plot. I would say a good 80% of the plot figured out. I have character names for, I think, 5 different people, basically. I ended up combining an idea for another story that I hadn't mentioned that wasn't really going anywhere. I took that and I inserted it into this world, and now that idea is starting to work. It's starting to contribute to the rest of the story, which required me to change some of the geography that I had in my head. But that's okay. I'm not actually losing anything by changing that. So this means that I'm going to have I'll just say right now, the group or the race, because I can't really say species, the race that Cassandra is from, and then there's going to be this other group that lives somewhere else that's related to them. They're kind of like cousins. And this group is very protective of the group that Cassandra comes from. So these 2 races are very, very close. I have a private playlist of sounds. Well, I'm continually adding to these playlists, but I have one for this as well. I have a working title. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that already. And I have the timeline of events pretty well figured out. I have certain organizations that are going to be involved. I have those outlined. I have a key piece of character backstory written. And then I have scenes from the beginning, the middle, and the end already written. I just don't have what happens in between those scenes. I have the notes for what happens, basically. But a lot of the details, I haven't woven those together yet. Let's see. I'm also in the process now of doing more, I guess you could say, would you call it aesthetics? I guess describing what most of the people and the objects and the locations and the geography and the buildings and such actually look like. And there's going to be a compare and contrast between how this particular group lives and what their environment looks like versus what the homes and environments that this other group of people who meet them are used to. Some things that are similar, but also things that are radically different. And I have a lot of the culture, I wouldn't say all of it, but a lot of the culture of this particular group worked out. And I would say this is more of the enjoyable part for me, because it's more, how should I say, some things are drawn from more of a historical source. Some things are more, I guess you could say, fantasy based, but still very historical. It's not going to be high fantasy. Neither of these books are going to be high fantasy. I can tell you that right now. It's going to be a lot more folklore. I guess you could compare it a little bit to how, if you read a lot of the different Celtic stories, a lot of the Irish fairy tales, quote, fairy tales, unquote, everything, no matter how apparently fantastical it sounds, is treated like it's perfectly normal. And it's very grounded in everyday reality. That's kind of what this is going to be like. Okay, I just decided to log on to TrackBear. I haven't been on here for a while. I've decided to make today a writing day, and obviously filming. Obviously filming. And I've already started to upload these clips so that I can edit. And I think I'm going to tell you one of the big changes that I've made. I have a working title for Cassandra's story. I'm thinking it probably is going to change because right now I have no idea what a more correct title for this book would be. But right now I have, just a second, I'll show you. You may recognize this from a previous video. This is the debut novel, and then I have Cassandra's story listed here. Again, this is TrackBear. I am going to change this to the working title, and that will be the reveal, with a little editing magic, and ta-da! See what I did? So this is the working title, Radiant, which is a covert reference to something in the story. It'll make sense when the book is done and you read it. And I have changed the status to outlining because I am officially now in the outlining stage of the book. But yeah, it's been a really rough few months. Really rough with a lot of things going on, and then we got some more, I'm not going to say bad news necessarily. Not strictly speaking bad news, but it was stressful for some of the people around us. But I'm working on my motivation, and I'm working on getting to be a little more positive because I have not been particularly positive lately. This particular project, it makes me feel better, even though it does have some darker themes to it. Not that that's anything new, really, but it's different. It's different. And there are going to be quite a few transitional characters. I would say practically every character that I've come up with goes through a transition through the course of Project Radiant, and as well as the novella, because they end up realizing that the world doesn't work the way that they think it does. I think it's going to be, both of these books are going to be stories that people will like. I'm not sure that I'm not going to say whether they'll see some of the deeper connections or not, but there's a lot of symbolism in it, I guess you could say. A lot of symbolism, particularly when you get to the novel, when you get to Radiant. I'm still calling it Cassandra's story. I have to recalibrate now. There's an awful lot of symbolism. I don't know if I mentioned before, but the novel, Radiant, has a lot of references to sacred texts. There are sacred texts in this world. that are banned, I will say. And the few people who knew about them think that they're gone, but they're actually not. And I have portions of those texts written. Every now and then a little bit more comes to me. So I'm also transferring that to the outline and organizing everything the way that I want it. I feel like the novella definitely will be finished first. I can't say that for certain, but because it is shorter, even though this actually has quite a few moving parts as well, more than I was expecting actually, because it grew during the outline process in a way that I wasn't expecting. I do think this is going to be finished first, and I do think this is probably what I'll be releasing first, because it happens at least a generation before Radiant. And it's the foundation for a major, I'll just say, plot twist right now in Radiant. I do have a working title for the novella, but I don't want to reveal what it is because I really like it and I don't want to change it. I want this to be the actual title of the book when it's released. And ideally, I do want both of these books to be traditionally published. Okay, I'm back again and my eyes are bothering me. Ah, boy. My allergies are also bothering me too. Okay. So, another thing I want to say is that I have the rest of Cassandra's name, or at least the name that she goes by. I have gotten on, and I have it up now, but I can't really show it to you because I don't want to give away too much of the inspiration yet. I decided to make myself a Pinterest account, a free Pinterest account, which I've never done before because I don't use images for the most part when I'm coming up with a story. I've never used reference images, with the exception of one project that's on hold right now that was more of like had more of a visual element to it. I've never bothered getting reference images because usually I find those to be distracting from the idea that I have in my head, because I think I mentioned this in a previous video, or at least I meant to. I have a tendency to write like I'm listening to the radio, because I would get ideas when I was growing up. I listened to a particular radio show, and it was very relaxing to me, and sometimes I would come up with ideas while I was listening to the actors' voices. So I have a tendency to prefer not visualizing a lot of what I'm writing, at least in the early stages. Sometimes if I end up visualizing something, it's usually an image that just comes to me. I don't deliberately try to picture what something will look like in my head. I usually just let it evolve and come to me as it's ready to. But with this particular story, because of the way that it's working out and because of the different moving parts that it has, I decided to experiment. And I almost never get on this because even though I have it, I almost never look at it. So I have 3 right now, technically 3. One is just my vision board for this year, which again, I never look at because I'm never on Pinterest. But since it's a writing day, I'm looking at it. And then I have one that is general reference images or inspiration for and prompts for the world building itself for both the Cassandra's novel, which I can now call Radiant or Project Radiant, and the novella. So I have one that is just basic images for world building and character building for that. And then I have a separate one for Cassandra herself. And that, well, technically it's not really for Cassandra herself. It's for her, but also for a lot of the visions that she has, because I've been adding to all three of these today. I want to try to reorganize Cassandra's list because I have images of reference images that are sort of kind of have elements of some of the beings that I'm describing in her visions. I want to set that aside for each of the individual beings, and then I want something just for her. And then I want to have reference images for each of the different geographic locations, and then reference images for each of the different characters. So I'm getting a lot of things organized. I'm coming up with a lot more, a lot of other ideas. I need to get a couple more flash drives. I found a pack of 2 on Amazon for a really good price. There was something like 65 gigabytes of storage, I think. I'm always on the lookout for more flash drives because I always want to have everything that I write backed up. But especially with this new project, I want to start fresh. I don't want to have everything I write on the 2 flash drives that I already own. And I think now I'm getting to a point, particularly with the novella, where I can't start putting it on the flash drive. And because this outline is getting pretty close to the point where I feel like I can actually start writing the first draft. The only problem with that is that I still don't have a working printer, but we'll just cross that bridge when we come to it. Bridges have a key role in these stories too, incidentally, as does water, particularly one specific body of water, which I found an excellent reference picture for. So I think that's about all that I'm going to film for today. Maybe, you never know. Because I really want to dive into this, and filming is distracting. No offense intended, it's just distracting. I'm not good at multitasking in this way. I also need to eat breakfast. It's 11 o'clock. I haven't eaten breakfast yet. That's not good. Actually, it's normal for me. It's normal for me. I usually don't eat breakfast at a normal time. I also need to put stuff away, and I have to clean up my workspace. I've been meaning to do that for weeks, no months, actually. Yeah, this is life. This is life. So I will see you whenever I see you. Okay.